Dennis, maybe you can tell us what's been going on in America the past 3 months. We're over here in England and we're watching the riots. We're watching the protests. Sometimes it's hard to know when one stops and the other begins. There's a lot of things I want to talk to you about today, but maybe we start there. What is going on from your perspective when we see these things?
The left has first of all perpetrated. I wrote this years ago. One could see it on obviously on the internet. One is free to check my columns. I wrote that the greatest libel in modern history is that America is a racist society. America is, in fact, the least racist society that has had multiple races in the history of humanity. And I wrote, because I taught Jewish history at college in the US, at the university, and I've written a book on anti-Semitism. So I know a lot about the subject. There was such a thing called the blood libel, and that is the most famous libel in history. It was for hundreds of years, Jews were accused of killing Christian children to use their blood to bake matzahs, the unleavened bread, for Passover. I mean, it was a 100% lie, 100%. Of course, no Jew ever did it, but you're not even allowed to eat animal blood, according to Jewish law, let alone human blood. So anyway, libel became a famous thing because of the blood libel. This is almost on that par of libel, that America is a racist society. America, as I said, is the least racist society where multiple races have lived. So this racist society elected the only white society in history to elect a non-white leader, and Barack Obama, twice, by the way. I believe that Obama got more white votes than Trump did. I'm almost certain about that. That this racist country. But here is an interesting challenge. If America is so racist, why have 2 million black Africans moved to the United States in the last 50 years? Are these people stupid? Would you move to a place that hated you? I'm a Jew. Would I move to Iran? Iran is systemically anti-Semitic. Would I move to Iran? If I did, I would be a suicidal fool. Blacks moved to the United States in vast numbers. And by the way, this is another fascinating statistic. 306,000 blacks came to America as slaves. 2 million blacks came to America from Africa as free people voluntarily. You think that's taught at any school in the United States of America? Anyway, that's one fantastic argument against the country being racist. Here's another one. My column this week on the number of hoaxes. There are so many race hoaxes in America. Jussie Smollett in Chicago is the most famous. But I list 15, and I didn't have enough space in one column to list more. Now, again, why would people make up racist hoaxes if America is so racist? Why do you keep having to make up noose stories? Oh, a hanging noose. Oh, that's racist. Or the N-word on a black kid's dormitory room at a university. But they're almost all made up, usually by blacks, trying to blame whites for racism. Why would that be if there's so much racism? This country is a blessing to blacks. There's a book called Out of America. Keith Richburg, a black Washington Post reporter. And he concluded after 2 years of being the Washington Post chief correspondent in Africa, how lucky he is that his ancestors, although they were horribly unlucky, he is very lucky as the beneficiary of their having been vilely transported to America because he's an American, and it's so much luckier for him than it would be had he stayed in Africa.